Hello, welcome to Simon's Trading Channel as Bitcoin knocks on the door of 90k yet again. It's definitely in an area of resistance. Um, it's Thursday, so let's get on with the price action. Now, I hope you're all well and you've had a great week so far. Thanks for joining me for another one of my videos. So you can see quite nicely here what's been going on with price action, right? So is that massive sort of selling pressure up against support that was coming in at 95, followed by the dump down, bounce up, bounce down, bounce back up. Classic Bitcoin fashion. But you can see, or I mean, if I point it out to you, maybe you'll be able to see that the support level around that 94, 95k region looks like it's turned into resistance. And, that's the way support resistance lines work, of course, or areas work. And it was rejected. It's bounced at the bottom of the range, and it looks like it might be rejected again, either here or slightly higher, but probably from the current wick, which, is likely going to be a tap of the top of the Bollinger Bands. So what does that boil down to? It boils down to Bitcoin being a bit range bound for now, with the overall range on the higher time frames coming in somewhere from about 79 to 95, roughly. And then lower time frames got a bit of a narrower range, but we'll see what happens over the next few days. Momentum on the 4 hour is to the upside, but you can see it's cooling off. And they're not a million miles away from the zero line, which of course flips it to the downside. It's likely that any closures below about 88 would indeed see another move down, probably to the low 80s, continuing the range, and then probably a bounce from there. What I don't know if this is going to happen, but this is kind of what it looks like is going to happen at the moment. There's this kind of like, bit of a wedge formation. And we'll see if that continues to be the case as volatility cools off. Only time will tell if my scribblings are those of a juvenile, insane person or one of someone else. Probably the former. But anyway, that's the 4 hour price action analysis. The daily, you can see the daily's kind of downtrending and has been really since here, this slightly lower low compared to this collection of this sort of wide high here. So really since the end of January, it's kind of been trending down. And yeah, we'll see what happens. But the midpoint of the Bollinger Band is coming at 92. So daily closures above there would look to would suggest to me that price action is trying to shrug off this daily downtrend, and definitely above this high, which is 95. But daily closures above the midpoint of the Bollinger Band, and probably looking for a move up towards 100k, I would suggest. That hasn't happened so far. However, there are still 10 hours left for this daily closure, so it's a long time. And we'll see what happens. But if price does continue to live below the midpoint of the Bollinger Band, 92k, then probably another move down to the bottom of the Bollinger Band, which is coming in at low 90s, no, low 80s. And it's no great shakes. It's no great difference in price action. There's no increase in volatility. It's just a range play, like I said, for the 4 hour. The momentum on the daily remains to the downside, and indeed, if Bitcoin starts to close dailies back below 87, that will, shift this into downside posturing. But I think for now, the trend on the dailies to the downside, and the trend is your friend. But price action doesn't have to do too much to shrug that off. But for now, it's definitely still in that kind of posture. Getting close to the end of the week on CME, if not perpetual exchanges. And the weekly candle, the weekly candle's hovering around the midpoint of the Bollinger Band. So if I was to be so bold as suggest that this wick here, which came down to 78.5, filling the CME gap, could turn out to be the bottom of the Bollinger Band should price action not do too much more over the next week or two. Well, that to me looks like a bottoming situation. Um, if the rest of today and tomorrow there's a bit more of a sell-off, yeah, maybe there will be a wick lower to come down and meet the bottom of the Bollinger Band. But for now, I get the feeling that the volatility is cooling off nicely on the weekly. Maybe it will for another week or two, but probably not for too much longer before hopefully Bitcoin starts to live above the midpoint and then make an upside move. But remember, when you're in a low volatility environment, which the weekly is getting to, whichever side of the midpoint the price is on gives you a steer on the move to follow when volatility picks up. Excuse me. And so if it's living below the midpoint, and it looks like the midpoint's going to hover around somewhere probably between about 1992, 1993K on a weekly time frame, if it's below that and volatility expands, that'll be a move to the downside. If it's above that and volatility expands, it'll be a move to the upside. I feel like it's going to be a move to the upside, but my feelings are irrelevant. But what is extremely relevant is the price action. Okay, I think I'll leave it at that for now. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If so, please like and subscribe and join me next time for some more Bitcoin price action analysis. Take care. See you soon.